Hello everyone, my name is Quacknee, and I'm here to ask and answer one question. Can you beat Bioshock using only the wrench? To keep things quick and simple, let's go over the rules of the run. The only weapon I'm allowed to deal damage to enemies with is the wrench. I can only use plasmids that do not directly damage enemies. I was originally going to do a no plasmid run, but if you have played Bioshock before, then you probably know why this is not possible. At certain times in the game, you are forced to use a plasmid to progress the story, shocking a control panel, melting ice, or throwing a grenade at debris with your mind. Because of this, I decided I would allow the use of plasmids for purposes other than combat. And finally, an additional challenge to myself, I must collect every little sister in the game and defeat their accompanying Big Daddy. Some other additional information, I will be playing on normal difficulty on the PC version of Bioshock Remastered. Gene tonics are all fair game as well as using turrets and drones to my advantage. With the rules established, let's get on with the run. The game begins with our protagonist Jack being the only survivor of an unfortunate plane crash in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Fortunately for us, there just so happens to be an all-too-convenient tower nearby. We descend down the stairs into a bathysphere that takes us to the bottom of the ocean. Luckily for us, Andrew Ryan gives us an in-flight movie about the importance of capitalism. I don't pay too much attention to this film as I live in the United States of America, and I'm all too familiar with the exploitation of man. After our in-flight movie, we finally get our first look at the setting of this game, Rapture, Andrew Ryan's utopia under the sea. Unfortunately for us, a utopia it is no longer. Internal power struggles turned to all-out war, and excessive genetic modifications have turned Rapture into a place of nightmares. As we come to a stop, we hear a man named Atlas over the radio discussing the plane crash that we were just a part of. Atlas sends a man named Johnny to fetch us, but he gets interrupted by what I can only assume to be a local greeting of disembowelment. Atlas asks us to pick up a radio to keep communications with him. We do so on our own free will, as we will need his help to traverse this hellscape. Moving forward, we come to our first weapon, and the weapon of this run, the wrench. We smash some debris blocking our path, and a local takes such offense to it he throws a flaming sofa at us. Our first enemy was easy enough to dispatch, taking 5 hits to the noggin. I find some drugs lying around, and seeing as how it's the 1960s, I decide to be period accurate and inject it directly into my veins, no questions asked. A high like never before comes over me, and Atlas chimes in to tell me to relax, but he's not the one with electricity coming out of his hands. I ride the lightning until I spill over a hand railing, falling unconscious. While coming to, I get my first look at a Big Daddy and a little sister. The little sister almost grants me my wish of death, but decides it would be best to let me suffer further.
Wait a minute, he's still breathing.
That's right, I am, but boy, I wish I wasn't. I shoot electricity at the control panel and open the door. Atlas tries to teach me to use plasmids in combat, but I ignore him. I have no need of fancy powers when I can just bash their skulls in. Trying to appeal to my cold, dead heart, Atlas tells me of his definitely real and very in danger family. But he asks nicely for my help, so I say yes. I see a single mother with a child and decide to teach her a lesson about being out alone. I kill her and take her baby, only to realize it was actually a gun. I then witness a child being assaulted, but before I'm able to do nothing about it, a Big Daddy dispenses swift justice with a drill. I dispose of a few more splicers with my wrench before making my way toward the medical pavilion. Just before I am able to leave, the man himself, Andrew Ryan, closes the door in my face. He somehow got it in his head that I am competent enough to be a CIA or KGB agent sent here to spy on him. He sends a couple splicers to kill me, but forgot to give them weapons that can break glass. Atlas opens the door for me, and I leave to the medical pavilion. Once I enter the medical pavilion, I buy some medkits from a vending machine. And since I won't need any ammo, this is what I'll spend most of my money on the entire run. As I begin to make my way to Dr. Steinman, I see the ghost of a disgruntled woman who's leaving him a bad review on Yelp. I quickly come to find out that this man is no doctor, but in fact, he is an artist. I enter the Eternal Flame and find someone who took its name a bit too seriously. Inside, I raise my body count and find our second plasmid for the run, Incinerate. Backtracking slightly, we can use this plasmid to explore areas blocked off by ice. I find the telekinesis plasmid and use it to catch a grenade in a can and blow up some debris blocking my path. I then come face to face with artist Steinman and witness his latest work of art. I'm still not entirely sure why Atlas wants me to kill him. He seems like such a nice man. This boss fight wasn't so much hard as it was long. My wrench dealt next to no damage, but luckily if I just kept circling around him, he would try to melee me instead of shoot me, which was easy enough to dodge. With 0 health left, I gave the doctor a taste of his own medicine and took the key I was after from his corpse. Again, I found myself witnessing a child being assaulted, and before I'm able to do nothing, once again, Tenenbaum comes to her rescue. Speaking of rescue, Tenenbaum gives me a plasmid that can cure the little sisters of their creepy ailments, and urges me to save them. But not being in the habit of doing what I'm told, I instead harvest the little ghoul for more Adam. I decided to harvest all the little sisters this run to see just how much Adam I would have left over at the end. I had well over 1,000 unused Adam by the time that I was finished. I then found my first Big Daddy, and because I had challenged myself to defeat them all, I started smacking. Things quickly went south as I noticed that even after several hits, his health bar didn't even move. I tried kiting him around corners, trying to get him stuck, but he just kept beating my ass. I started searching the level for a place to safely fight him, and by safely, I mean unfairly. I thought I might be able to dance around this counter and fight him, but that didn't end well, so it was back to the drawing board. I remembered this crawl space where I found the incineration plasmid, but I wasn't sure I'd be able to pop out, deal some damage, and hide again before he rearranged my face with his drill. I thought that might be it, that I had failed my secondary challenge already, on the first Big Daddy no less, but then I saw it. A waist-high railing, the kind of thing that could even stop Gordon Freeman in his tracks. It was everything I needed. Getting the Big Daddy to follow me was easy enough. It was just a matter of time before I was able to whittle him down. I took a break from that to go find one of the most important tonics for this run, Wrench Jockey, which increases the damage for the wrench significantly. I returned to the Big Daddy to find that he has somehow glitched out and is now just standing there, menacingly. So I take full advantage and I beat him to death. After several minutes of clicking, he finally dies and I harvest his little sister. I use Dr. Steinman's key to activate the emergency access control, enter the bathysphere, and then make my way to Neptune's bounty. I immediately find another Big Daddy, but this one has a gun and is named Rosie. I hate Rosies. They basically don't miss if you're close enough, and since I'm only using a wrench, that means they're always hitting me. And even when you attack them from behind, their melee attacks come out almost instantly and have a hitbox the size of a truck, even when they're not looking at you. All in all, a very bad time. I then bought the static discharge tonic, which would be a core part of my build going forward. I fought another Big Daddy, this time making use of the decoy plasmid, with mixed results. I basically don't use it again after this level. I then head to Fontaine Fisheries and meet Peach Wilkins, who is immediately untrusting of me. Don't worry, the feeling is mutual. He then gives me a grenade launcher and tells me to go find a camera. I kill another Big Daddy for some more sweet, sweet Adam. I find the camera, and Wilkins tasked me with taking pictures of 3 different spider splicers. On my way back to Wilkins, Atlas tells me more about his totally real family, and I pretend to care. When I return to Wilkins, he invites me inside, but he's not so trusting, so I must surrender all of my weapons but my wrench, which is fine by me. Inside, he ambushes me and then gets a face full of wrench. I retrieve my things, but mostly just to get the camera back. I make my way through the fishery to save Atlas's very real, very loving family and meet the man himself. Andrew Ryan makes another appearance and sends some splicers down to kill Atlas. I hurry my way to assist him. I make it just in time to see his family become very dead. Atlas is sad about his very dead but totally still very real family, and I move on to Arcadia. Atlas keeps crying about his dead family, but I'm happy because Arcadia is one of my favorite settings in the game. I take a bunch of pictures to get upgrades using the camera. And I beat down a Big Daddy. Andrew Ryan releases some toxic fumes, and now I have to purify the air before I die. I talk to Judy Langford, who tells me she can clear the air if I collect a few things for her. I fight a Big Daddy, but then we both die at the same time. Taking more pictures gives me Sports Boost 2, which increases my movement speed and swing speed significantly. I harvest the little sister from before, and collect the flowers Langford asked for. I return to her lab, and then Andrew Ryan shows up once again to kill somebody I've only just met. At least she wrote down the combination for her safe on the wall before she died. Now tasked with making the Lazarus Vector myself, I head off to find the ingredients. I make quick work of another Big Daddy. I collect almost enough ingredients, and then I realize I can hack the crafting station to make the recipe cheap enough to craft it now. Lazarus Vector in hand, I head back to Arcadia. I plug it into the computer, and the toxic fumes disperse. As I go to leave the lab, Andrew Ryan sends a small army to stop me. Interesting enough, as they're cutting through this door, while I can hear them behind it, looking through this glass shows me that there is in fact no one there. I dispatch of the splicers easy enough and begin to make my way towards Fort Frolic. At Fort Frolic, I meet Sandra Cohen, one of my favorite characters of the game. He gives you a short show before letting you enter the rest of the area. Explode this piano with my wrench, and then Sandra Cohen asks me to take a picture of this man's corpse. After returning to the foyer, I place the photo inside Sandra Cohen's self-proclaimed masterpiece, at which point he asks me to hunt down 3 more targets, kill them, and take their photograph. The first one, Martin, freezes me solid, but doesn't kill me for whatever reason, so I smash his brains in and take a photo of his corpse. I kill another Big Daddy. I chase down, kill, and photograph Hector Rodriguez. Kill another Big Daddy. I kill Cobb, and I take his picture. You guessed it, another Big Daddy. I then return to finish Cohen's masterpiece. After sending a couple splicers to kill me, he finally shows himself. I take his photo, and then beat him to death. Now that Sandra Cohen is dealt with, I make my way to Hephaestus. I fight a Big Daddy. I also find a massive bomb under a staircase, which Atlas asks me to fix. I kill a Big Daddy. And I kill another one. I collect all the parts to fix this bomb and somehow put this thing in my pocket. I then make my way towards Rapture's core. While turning this wheel, you're supposed to be attacked by several waves of splicers, but I have a tonic that makes me invisible while standing still. So they just stand there, which is nice. I take the elevator down to Rapture's core and place the bomb. And just like that, Andrew Ryan no longer has any defenses, so I make my way right to his office. It is at this point in the game that the big reveal happens. All the memories you've been having during the game are all fabricated, and you are actually a sleeper agent, activated by the phrase, "Would you kindly?" The very same phrase Atlas has been using the entire game. Andrew Ryan spends a little bit of time playing with me before handing me a golf club, telling me, "A man chooses, a slave obeys." Knowing exactly what I am, I firmly plant the golf club into his head. I take the genetic key to Rapture and plug it into the machine as Atlas asks, at which point he reveals himself to be Frank Fontaine. He immediately turns on me and I make my escape with a little sister's help. I regain consciousness in Tenenbaum's hideout, and she tells me she's removed part of Fontaine's control over me, but I need to remove it completely if I have any hope of defeating him. Once outside, Fontaine has some more tricks up his sleeve, and he begins to lower my maximum HP using code phrases. I kill a Big Daddy. Wanna see me do it again? I then craft a Bloodthirst tonic, which heals me whenever I deal damage with the wrench. I collect a dose of Lot 192 to remove Fontaine's control over me, and now I cannot choose which plasmid I have equipped. This didn't bother me at first until I realized every time the plasmid changed, it would equip it automatically, so now I would have to be careful to not attack with one accidentally. A side note, it also appears that it selects plasmids you don't even have access to. At one point, it switched to Winterblast 3, which I had not purchased. Still needing another dose of Lot 192, I make my way to Apollo Square to find more. I find it quickly enough and remove myself from Fontaine's mind control completely. I kill a Big Daddy. Twice. And then make my way to Point Prometheus. Atlas starts taking a bunch of drugs, getting several plasmids in the process, and then runs away like a coward. In order to open the door he hides behind, I need the help of a little sister. And in order to enlist their help, I need to become something they can trust. A Big Daddy. I start by collecting a suit control unit off of a dead one. I then find some boots. I find a bodysuit, getting a sweet 25% damage reduction. I kill yet another Big Daddy. And then I use whatever this machine is to rip out my vocal cords so that I can sound like one. I kill another Big Daddy. And complete the ensemble with a helmet. Interestingly enough, I find two Big Daddies that have somehow got into a fight with one another. They both had a little sister, and I thought maybe I could cheat the game here and get an extra one, as this should have been the last one in the game. But as soon as one Big Daddy died, the other little sister disappeared. I feel robbed, but it's not like I needed the atom anyway. This next section of the game is essentially an escort mission, where I occasionally stop to let the little sister collect Adam and then protect her from waves of slicers. The final Big Daddy of the game ambushes us at the end of this hallway, and I finally remember to take a couple pictures of him and unlock Wrench Jockey 2. Which is nice, but at the same time, the game is basically over at this point, and all that's left is the final boss. I buy my last health upgrade for the game, and I end up with 1270 Adam left over after harvesting every little sister in the game. As I say goodbye to my little sister, she gives me her syringe to help me in the final battle against Fontaine. And then there's the fight. What can I really say about this fight? What you're seeing is basically exactly how the entire thing went. It proved no challenge, and I didn't even fight the splicers and drones that he sends at you between waves. Basically, all I had to do the entire fight, through every single phase, is walk around in a circle and smack him. In the end, the little sisters come to my rescue, despite the fact that the entire game I have done nothing but kill them. And with that, the game is over, and I can finally answer the question, can you beat Bioshock using only the wrench? Yes. Yes, you can. And it wasn't even that difficult either. The wrench is actually a great weapon in this game. The only thing that proved to be any real challenge was the big daddies. The turrets and drones definitely helped, but had I not allowed myself to use them, it really would have just taken more time than anything to complete my secondary objective. But that's all for now. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, subscribe. Leave a comment below for what challenge run you'd like to see next. And with that, I'll see you next time.
Your father has terrified the world to try to steal the secrets of his city.